sitting next to you.
Hi, Jerry. Good to meet your wife. Calm me down when I had a missing dog.
She's good at that.
Yeah, I needed it. I was right. Truly. You know, I was at the.
All right, we're good to go?
Let's go look at
All
the
right.
pages. No, let's not look at the.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's roundtable discussion of the results of the age-friendly survey that we conducted here in Lyman. Thank you for attending. Thank you for tuning. Thank you, Michelle, for setting the projector up. And first, thanks to Karen Kane for all the time and effort that you put into constructing the survey. Thanks to the members of our community who responded. And thanks to the folks at UMO who photocopied the survey, set it up so that it could be available online, and also facilitated the compilation of data from the survey into tonight's slideshow. Now, the slideshow itself, unfortunately, will not be broadcast on the YouTube, but it is available in a couple of forms. It's available in hard copy here at Town Hall. If you go to the packet agenda for the January 21st Select Board meeting, it is there, with the exception of one slide that comes at next to last, where we have some accomplishments to date listed there. Some background here. Lyman recently joined the AARP Age-Friendly Community Network. In this network, towns and cities exchange ideas to provide support to residents of all ages. The survey used here in Lyman was based on and modified from a sample that AARP provided. So without further ado, we will get to the slide projection itself. First, the introduction. Let's see again, this whole slide package is available in the January 21st Select Board meeting. AARP has 8 domains of livability, what they consider to be necessities for social interaction: outdoor spaces, transportation, respect and social inclusion, community support and health, social participation, communication and information, housing, and civic participation. Now we had, excuse me, 273 respondents, great response, and the survey itself was available in a number of ways. It was at the polling station in November, at the community library, here at Town Hall. There was an email blast that went out, and people mainly were able to fill this out online. The Lyman Facebook pages and also at the Candlewood community also had copies available. Now, the vast majority of the respondents, over 80%, almost 90%, are full-year residents. Although the survey was open to people of all ages, 74% were over the age of 50. And that does reflect the U.S. Census data that shows that our median age here in Lyman is 52.3. The survey respondents reflect long-term residency in our community. 56% have lived in Lyman for 15 years or more. There's general satisfaction with life here in Lyman. 82% felt that life here was good to excellent. And the satisfaction translates into plans for the future. 80% of the respondents intend to stay in Lyman as they age. Now, if respondents were to relocate, their chief concerns, according to the survey, would be: 1, being able to live independently, a very strong result in our survey, and 2, being able to afford to live independently. There is very, very strong sentiment, 95%, to live independently. There's a strong sense of self, strong sense of autonomy. As for the question with respect to, as you grow older, would you consider sharing your home? There was a slim majority said family. There was some inclination to share with friends, but very little sentiment to share with someone outside of family and friends. There were varying responses to the availability of home repair and quality and cost. A considerable amount of uncertainty. Now, this may be indicative of the uncertainty as to where to get recommendations for such services. On the question with respect to how would you rate Lyman for each of the following, we had these results. There's general satisfaction with roads, signs, parks, location of healthcare services, and parking. Some dissatisfaction was voiced with speed limit enforcement, affordable, low-cost housing, benches, restrooms, and neighborhood watch. With respect to speed limit enforcement, that is kind of difficult given that we don't have a police force, etc. I do take note of a handmade sign that was located on Munich Point Road. Welcome to Go Slow. That's
Oh, very nice.
There they go. All right. As for where folks get information, I'm sorry. How do we get around? We are a self-propelled community. 97% drive themselves. One question that comes begging there, would that change if there was more in the way of public transportation available, alternatives to driving oneself from one location to another? The question with respect to health and wellness, how would you rate the Lyman for access and affordability to each of the following? It shows some misgivings and uncertainty about wellness programs, navigation to and through healthcare, home care, housekeeping, telehealth, and fitness programs. I'd like to put a plug in at this point in time for Southern Maine Agency on Aging. They are outstanding. At the time of my retirement, it was time to bone up on Medicare, and the folks there were outstanding in terms of guiding me through that. They have they're located in Biddeford and just opened up a new branch in Springfield. Again, Southern Maine Agency on Aging. Springville. Let's see. With respect to feelings of isolation, good news there. A strong majority do not feel isolated, but a considerable number do feel loneliness, at least on occasion. And now we find that public health folks say designate isolation as a health risk. And now I'll turn things over to Karen.
We're tag teaming.
Here we go.
All right, please tell me how to change the slide.
Down there.
So in an emergent situation, we asked, how people would get in touch, who people would get in touch with in such an emergency. And it's pretty much split between dialing 911 or contacting family or friends. So I don't think there's any surprise there.
If I may, I'd like to put in a plug for something that folks may not be too familiar with. 911, we all know. 211 is another source for health, financial, education, and social services. 211. Mm-hmm.
And with respect to people who seek out continuing education or self-improvement workshops, it was encouraging actually to see that so many use the library and local organizations. And then, there's another segment using online programs. But then there's 31% who don't participate in anything, and it makes you wonder why. And I think that will come out a little bit later in the survey. How comfortable are people using new technology? Well, it seems like at least the people who responded to the survey are comfortable using it. And I'm always looking for the silent population, right? The people that we didn't hear from, and did we not hear from some people because they're not comfortable using technology? So just something to keep in the back of our minds. We asked people to rate Lyman on, a host of things, but in summary, they're basically activities, events that are geared towards the older population. And we didn't do so good on this one, as you can see. People felt we were poor in the areas of, conveniently located entertainment and activities geared towards older adults and offering senior discounts. And then a whole slew of people just not sure about the things that are on the rest of this list. And once again, as we get into a little bit more detail later, we'll find out more about that.
If I may, please be conscious of what is offered at the Mass Basic Adult Ed, a program that I encountered at another school was called Senior to Senior. We asked a question about intergenerational activity. And the Senior to Senior program was seniors in high school would go to the household of senior citizens within the community to do raking, mow lawns, general yard work and that kind of routine. So, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. When asked what kind of social or community activities people were interested in, the top 4 are day trips, fitness, walking groups, arts and crafts, and then card or board games. And again, I wonder how many people realize how many of these activities are already available at the library.
Crafters, cribbage, book club.
Yeah. And what types of sessions educational sessions would people be most likely to engage in? Are fitness, health and wellness, arts and crafts, a little bit of technology, but the top 2 were really similar to the previous slide.
Mhm.
And the format that people are looking for are basically community-based workshops, and also online classes.
One commonality I found there was the notion of proximity. There may be a self-propelled community, but I don't know if we want to drive too far to do anything in particular. Mhm.
To the new person who just joined us, there are copies of handouts on the table next to you in case you're interested.
Thank you.
And then here we go. What might prevent you from joining in on an organized educational or community activity? Well, overwhelmingly, people said they're just not aware of what's available. So I think there's some low-hanging fruit here. I think there are things that are available either in our community or through organizations like SMAA, York County Community Action. Even some of the other area age-friendly groups open their doors to other communities. So I think it's just a matter of making people aware of what's available in advance for them to make plans to be able to get there, right? We asked how interested people would be in volunteering, and I think a number of people who already volunteer in town answered this, that they're very interested, but also 51% are somewhat interested. So, we need to be thinking about how do we tap into that and get more people to help volunteer for activities like this or even other activities in the town. And then who would you turn to for community information? Most people said family or friends, healthcare providers, the internet, a local senior center if we had one, and then a slew of others. So I think we really need to drill down on this a little bit more to find out. And I was kind of hoping the percentages would be on this slide so that we could get a little bit more detail. So I'll have to mine the data a little bit on that one. But this basically tells you that where people are getting their information from. And then just demographically, who responded to the survey? It was 63% female, 36% male, and 2% of other. So I don't think there's a surprise there. I think females typically tend to do this more often, if I can generalize. I probably shouldn't, right? And then how do people rate their health? This, again, reflects who responded to the survey, but 94% said they were in good to excellent health. So I was a little surprised at that one. We asked how many people are currently family caregivers, meaning giving routine care to an older relative. And this is unpaid care. 82% said they were not currently. But if you go to the next slide and you look at, who is planning on being a caregiver in the future, 80% of respondents said they were somewhat or extremely likely to become a caregiver in the future. So, we need to start thinking about what are those resources that those people are going to need coming down the road.
And if I may interject, one thing in particular, respite care, those who are providing care for loved ones.
So in summary, the good news is that 82% of the respondents felt that Lyman is a good to excellent place to live, which I don't think surprises us. 94% consider themselves to be in good health. 95% are able to drive themselves, and 83% are comfortable with technology. The areas that popped up for development in the town were the ability to live independently and home maintenance affordability, affordable housing, activities geared towards older adults, and the greatest obstacle in not participating is not being aware of what's available.
Well, in terms of accomplishments to date, check out the town website. The General and Elder Services page is just loaded with all sorts of resources there. Again, commendations to Karen in terms of putting that together. And we recently received a substantial grant for the purchase of ramps for Bunganuck Park to make access for those who have, who are older and maybe have some physical challenges, make it a little bit easier for them as well. Next steps, maybe looking into, we're right here in step number 1, holding the roundtable discussion. We are required by our membership to put together an action plan. One particular town's plan that I was very impressed with was Biddeford, although that is a city of some substantial size. What they did was take those 8 domains of livability by AARP and use that as a framework for their action plan, which I think would be a good thing to emulate, or at least consider. Investigate funding options to support the action plan. AARP and the Council on Lifelong Maine have a grant program open right now. Closes on March 5th. So if we have some ideas for some short-term projects with long-term effects, we might be able to put together a grant application for that. It's a situation where if you apply for the AARP grant, you're automatically placed in a pool for the Lifelong Maine grant, Community Connections grant. Let's see.
Yeah, and just so we're throwing out these names, and there's a lot of them, and none of them are short. But just to let you know, Lifelong Maine is a program within the University of Maine, and they're sort of our local representative for AARP. And those folks have been fantastic in terms of holding our hands through this survey and providing us with guidance, connecting us with people from other communities that we can talk with. So there's that group. There's Southern Maine Agency on Aging, which provides a plethora of resources in just about every aspect of servicing the aging population. And then York Community, County Community Action also, that's Lyman's resource for a lot of services for people who are in need of, day-to-day living requirements.
All right. Now, Karen and I are meeting some folks over in Biddeford on Wednesday, part of the Silver World Network, to get some ideas with respect to how we can coordinate our activities. And available
We have a
in
meeting
hard
with
copy.
SMAA coming up as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Available over there on the table, and also will be they'll be available in Town Hall, are some notes that were taken at a group gathering of members of the age-friendly community, and a number of the initiatives that they are doing that we may want to emulate and modify for our town. Let me see
Can I
here.
ask you guys to reiterate something? What
Sure.
was the age, do you have the age group who responded to this, to
Yeah.
the survey?
Um,
Was it 50s?
Almost 3/4 were over the age of 50.
Over the, what, 50 to what? The reason I'm asking
So-
is, being a geriatric nurse,
Hmm.
I know, Beth, this elderly population, they don't deal with technology.
Hmm.
And I'm wondering when we say yes, they would not be the people that are telling you they think they're excellent, their health is very good.
Yeah.
Percentage by age.
Yeah, that was the one I was looking at. Great. 60 to 69, that's about where we're feeling like, okay, I still get it.
Mhm.
And then after that, they're like, so it's a tricky group.
Yep.
That I think for me, before I made many decisions about where I was gonna focus, I'd wanna send those people something in the mail.
Mm.
Now, if they don't reply, but they need to know, if you don't reply, we're gonna focus on those who have.
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, but no,
That out,
that's
but,
what it's
you know,
all
I've been
about.
Really, we
dealing
should be
with
opening
them
up.
today, several of them, and it's a tough group.
When they read the paper, with the reporter or the courier, things like that.
Well, let's see, let me think about where they are. One is 89, she's British and in Hollis. No, no. She wants me to help her with her computer.
Mhm.
And she's amazing. I mean, she wanted to get an iPhone and learn how to use it.
Mhm.
And has a daughter in England, but again, she lives alone.
Mhm.
Then another lady who's in Scarborough, and she wants nothing to do with computers.
Mhm.
And then I have a lady down in Kennebunk. She knows how to, but she just gets herself in a mess and then gives up.
Mhm.
And then the fourth one is 85, and she's in Haverhill, Mass.
Mhm.
And she has children that will help her. But they aren't interested in those little newspapers, like I'll often bring whatever is local to them, no.
Yeah.
So that would just be something I would offer as a suggestion.
One aspect of that senior program that I was describing before was high school seniors sitting down with an older individual who is maybe not so technologically adept, but interested, and providing some one-on-one assistance there.
It would be great, but many of them want nothing to do with
Understood.
buying the stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, honey, I can't figure that out.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say you get about maybe 50% might be,
Mhm.
if they're
Mhm.
children or family, and then get them involved. Like I have one lady I had to teach her how to do FaceTime because her children live in New Hampshire, and but they want to see her face,
Right.
and so we practice together.
Okay.
So that is helpful.
I like the idea of a mailing to try
I
to
I
reach
think
those.
that would be
Okay.
something helpful.
I think there's different segments too, right? You've got people who are probably in that category. And then you have, how do you build resources for people who are younger, who aren't yet there,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
there's probably different pockets
It's
of
really
age
important,
groups.
absolutely. To address it before you wish you knew what was available.
Yeah, or you say, whoops, I'm there and
geez,
I
I-
don't know what's
Yeah.
available. Yeah.
Please.
I work at Massachusetts Adult and Community Education, and part of why I came was because I looked at the presentation on the website, and it said that people didn't know what was available to them. We do classes for technology which are aimed at older adults, but like you said, sometimes
We gotta get them there.
it's getting them there, and it's, oh, I don't know how to do that. I'm not gonna sign up because I don't
Because I'll
know.
be embarrassed because I
Yeah.
don't know anything.
Yeah.
Right now, we partner with the National Digital Equity Centre, so they run classes and we're on site they do like a Zoom class of how to use your iPhone or how to like connect to the internet and stuff, and we're there in the classroom like doing it with them. But something that we've talked about is having like one-on-one sessions, and we don't have the capacity for it right now, but that would be kind of addressing both the people that would be looking to get into a class and find out a bit more, but then the other people that are like, I don't even know where to start. Like, why would I take this class when I don't know what iPhone basics would be? Like, I just have a phone and I don't know how to use it, kind of thing. And having that one-on-one would be really helpful. It's just we don't have the capacity to do that right now. But it's something that we would like to do.
Okay,
Oh, I think it'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
indeed.
Any other first impressions, thoughts,
Mhm.
surprises maybe?
On the data?
Affordable housing, that's a nationwide, worldwide problem. I'm not sure how much we can do about that, except to say,
Mhm.
here's what's in the planning stages. And again, trying to get people to have, affordable home repairs. Typically, these people are aware they need something done, but it's not in their budget.
Right.
So they just kind of ignore the mollusk growing on the roof.
Mhm.
And
It's
I
that-
will often mention it to children, and their response is, well, do you know someone?
Mm.
And it's like, oh my, I don't, I mean, I do, but I don't. It's a terribly, again, it's a very difficult thing to manage.
Here's some
Or
sort of
to provide affordable resources that will come this season even.
Some of
preparing.
the other communities have though,
A
what they
group,
call
like in Kennebunk, they
Candyman.
do.
Yeah, Candyman.
But sometimes you pull a
Services.
gutter off and you realize the roof is rotted.
Mm.
And you're like, ooh,
Mhm.
ooh.
But, ramps, stair repairs, that kind of routine.
Yeah,
Now, Habitat does have a program that addresses that. So,
great.
contacting the York County chapter of Habitat would be good. And again, taking a look at that handout.
So if they got a few things in the mail that say, well, if your home repair is needed and it can't be the link online.
Right.
It needs to
Right.
be.
Here's the telephone
here's
number,
what town
here's the
they're in,
address.
And here's their telephone number.
Sounds good.
Um,
Amber.
Yeah.
Does AARP have a list in Maine of like contractors that they vet for? The amount of fraud
Mhm.
with contractors.
Mhm.
I think that seniors are terrified to invite people into their home because they hear
Mhm.
these stories. It happened to my mom, it happened to my aunt,
Yep.
And so it's like, I think that like now my mom she won't call anybody. She's like, she'll find somebody in the family who can.
Either
piece it
knows somebody
together
or will
Right.
Yeah,
with them.
because
Mhm.
now she's terrified that she's gonna get taken advantage of again.
Mhm.
So
I'll
I don't know if they have something like that.
uncertain about that, but some sort of vetting process. But you bring up a great point, Amber. Unfortunately, the elderly are a target for scams.
And even
Well,
if
blacktop
there
your
was a
driveway,
group of
that
us
kind of
were willing to
routine.
go the first or second time and make sure they're signing a contract that seems legitimate,
Mhm.
okay, you guys are good to go.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, if they have an advocate.
Right.
I did just read, and I've been reading so much, but I don't remember what city or town it was, but somebody was working along the lines of getting the police department more involved to make sure that they weren't getting scammed, working
that's
with
a
the
nice
older
idea.
population. We don't have that resource, but I wonder if they could give us some guidance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that unfortunately, they always are involved after it's already happened.
Yeah.
Mm.
And at that point, it has to reach a certain threshold before they'll go after it, like for elder abuse or
Mm.
something like that.
So maybe a way to upfront legitimize the contractor.
Certified by
Yeah.
somewhere.
Michelle,
I have twofold questions.
Mhm.
First one is, it was great to see a lot of the residents that responded were healthy. That was like,
Yes.
yay.
But then that also leads to the question, oh, the ones that aren't healthy, there's an answer, what services are there for them?
Mm.
Or how do they find services in a small town like this where we don't have a doctor's office that I know of anyways, maybe there is one,
Mhm.
Parkton somewhere. There was a chiropractor, I think.
There was.
Like, it's, what medical services, how can they get there from here, that transportation wise,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's one question. And then my other one was even planning services, legal services. A lot of times they're even afraid to ask those hard questions. Or their family don't know how to facilitate a conversation with them about, do you have a plan?
Mhm.
Do you have a living will? Do you have, and those I think are so very important as you age to have that control. Because that's I think what I've noticed, they want their control, they want their independence.
Mhm.
And I think if you're making your plan, that's your control. And I think that's so very important, but there's not a lot of services around here that I know of, or
Mhm.
like there was a visiting lawyer that came in once a month, or had a meeting once a
Yeah.
year with a lawyer that would come in and have packets available with living wills. And
Yeah. Mhm.
be able to hand
Actually,
things
I
out.
think Southern Maine Agency on Aging does do a lot of that.
Yeah, because I
They
haven't
can
seen
help,
anything
but they
around
could
here.
even, we could even bring them in.
That's
That's
right.
what I'm
And do a
saying.
community-based
Plan a community event where,
Session.
so that way they're hands-on, it's so much
Right.
easier face-to-face.
Right, they
And
can
how do
take
you get-
packets and then go home and say,
Ask
oh,
questions,
Yeah.
have a number to call.
In my mind, my biggest challenge is how do you get those people? Because I know when my mom died and, my dad needed resources in order to stay in his house, he needed resources and he thought he wasn't going to be able to. Well, fortunately, I was able to help him. I was able to navigate the internet and make phone calls and find the resources that he needed. But he was proud. He didn't want to take help. Until he got to the point where he had to, and then didn't have the capability of knowing where to turn. So how do you reach those people so that they can really tell you what they need?
Well, I think, especially with a lawyer, when you have them come in, because as we all know, there's also a point in time where you have to have a doctor's note to change things or to do
Yep.
anything. So knowing that they're gonna face a wall where you can't do these things, because by law, it doesn't hold out.
Power of
You know,
attorney.
All of your power of
Yeah,
attorney, your
you have to have
healthcare
this-
proxy, your,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't get diagnosed and then do it all, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
There's limits because they know there's a mental capacity.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's the surveys like from the census, but like finding these people to be able to directly mail them or cold call. I don't know if that's,
Mm.
I don't know if there's a list of database of people who would want to be called when there's something to go, like we get ours usually school's canceled. Like if there was an alert that could go up to your elderly people and say,
Mm.
hey, this is going on this week on Wednesday at, it's phone call, it's an automated message you're gonna hear. I was just thinking, because that's the way they hear the message, and then for more information, call this number,
Mhm.
and then so maybe something
Yeah.
like that, where there's an
Mhm.
automated message that goes out.
Mhm.
And you would get seniors to sign up to that.
Yeah.
That way because a lot of them, again, don't do email.
Right.
Maybe don't even go out and get their mail,
Mm.
or because they don't get a lot of mail, I don't know.
Mhm.
But a phone call,
Mhm.
they're gonna get it, and it's not gonna be left on their message.
With respect to the legal services presentation, that's something we bring up with the SMA.
there are a
SMAA
group
folks.
of lawyers that I worked with in Kennebunk that would often work with an elderly group of people.
Mhm.
Happy to do that,
Mhm.
because they know.
Mhm.
So they do exist as groups.
The other thing I know is available out there, and I'm not sure it's SMAA or another group, but they will come and do classes on balance, how to maintain
Oh,
your
better balance,
balance.
that's smart. Yes, Southern Maine
Which is
Agency on
huge,
Aging
right?
does that.
Yeah. So, things like that, we could also, with respect to health and fitness, get people to come in and conduct
And the
sessions.
trick is, how do we get them here?
Yeah,
Many of them,
Mhm.
none of my clients drive.
Mhm.
There's
So,
the service that is, oh, sorry.
No,
There's a service out of Saco, but I don't know if they come out this far. I have a friend who actually volunteers and started, they got a grant to fund, they go in grocery shop for seniors or bring them to the store, bring them back and bring them to doctor's appointments. There's a
Mhm.
whole network of them in Saco. They might have some,
Biddeford's got a similar type of program, and they've been contacting us at least tangentially about extending their services, because oftentimes someone in Lyman has an appointment at in Bedford. So
And I'm thinking, can we partner with Alfred
yeah,
and or Dayton
yep.
to, kind of
And
expand our
grants
reach a little
available
bit?
to cause that to happen. That's what the
Mhm.
one that's talking about starting as a full grant, sponsored the whole program. I can email my friend the name of.
Please.
Yeah.
Mhm. So one thing I'd encourage everyone to do is pick up a copy of what other towns are doing. Look that over and get back in contact with Karen and myself as to what we might be able to formulate and get off the ground within the next couple months, for starters. Let's see. Mhm.
Is there a community space in Lyman that people can get to easily? Like we were talking about transportation and you said about health and fitness, like we do at Adult Ed, we have a lot of health and fitness classes and we are trying to expand further into the RSU 57 district is quite geographically large, so almost all of our programming is in Waterborough because that's where we're based. But is there anything that we could like partner with to get more health and fitness classes
Well,
in
I'm in
this
elementary.
community? Yeah.
That's fairly central in town.
Right now, there's a yoga class that's taking place at the library.
That's right.
I'm pointing to Amber because she works at the
Yeah.
library.
The library's right
Parks
there.
Parks and Rec runs
Yeah.
that right now.
So there are some areas.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be great because
This room.
we have stuff in,
So you guys could offer the class if we could offer the space.
that's the only thing that's holding us back right now
Oh,
from
really?
Lyman is that we just don't have a space available right now.
Spaces we have, so
Lyman Elementary would not be a possibility.
they never knew of it. We've never answered and said, hi, we've got this space, what do you have for classes? It sounds like.
My only thing for that, we usually do for classes for older adults are always way more popular in the daytime. So you wouldn't be able to use the elementary school
Understood.
in the daytime the same way that
Mhm.
we can't, I'm based in the east building of the high school. We can't have anything until 4 o'clock because,
Mhm.
we can't have adults in the building when there's kids in the building.
Right.
So,
Right, so we're in the library.
Okay.
so that's why we partner with
Here.
like the town hall in Limerick or, the library in Alfred and, places like that to do classes there, but.
The folks who are renovating the church behind us here have in mind the wellness classes and
Great.
exercise classes there.
Oh,
Just judging from the outside, the renovations have begun there. I don't know what the time frame is, but when they were before the planning board, that's what they had in mind. The classes available there in their space.
I mean, we have the space,
I don't
but
know anything of their space.
it wouldn't be something that
Oh,
staff
um,
would be able to facilitate
is
or.
it the-
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it would be, somebody would have to come in, it would have to be self.
Right, I don't know. I've not been in there.
The one up on the hill on
Mhm.
35 near the gun, is the log cabin fishing, the fishing game. They used to rent it out. I don't know what
Let's see.
condition it's in.
I think it's in great condition, they still rent it out.
It is big, it's a big space.
Okay.
And it has bathrooms, because I know when, I
Mhm.
think you have here, that doesn't have
Most
bathrooms.
importantly.
Well, I think also the, well, no, doesn't this one have no bathrooms, that one, there's just no plumbing right here at the Legion or
The
the.
Legion, right.
They-
Whatever that is, yeah.
I don't think they have any facilities, I think
The,
there was no running water, there was something like that, which is why, but that would be another building there, but I thought there was something.
Well, the Historical Society
I might
meets
be
there.
completely wrong.
At the Masons.
At the Masons.
Yeah. I've never been.
They must have a bathrooms in there.
I'm
so-
assuming.
Yeah,
they're not.
Aryan Lodge.
Yeah, so that'd be another one to check out too, for spaces, they would have an open space in there. I don't know if they, I think they've met during the winter there, the historical society.
Picking back up this month, last month.
Linked his camp to that Y thing on Kennebuck Pond. He's got a bunch of buildings and cabins that's aren't being used.
I don't know how big they are. I've never been up there.
Mr. Wozleski.
Mhm.
All right. Well, at this point, just encouraging people to continue to consider ideas that other towns have, what our needs may be based on the survey results. Keep in contact with us and we'll see what we can formulate. And also a reminder, we'll have also, weather permitting, another roundtable discussion on Thursday evening at 6 here on the comprehensive plan, and another roundtable discussion on Saturday at 10 o'clock, weather permitting again on that. Anything else, folks?
Is
Great.
it Saturday? Covering more people or is it separate?
Covering more people. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing this, just moving times around for people's schedules.
Any last
Thank you.
thoughts?
Thank
Well,
you
I'm glad
everyone for
did this,
attending,
though. It, you know,
Mhm.
get us thinking,
and
Thank
thanks for
you.
tuning in, folks.
yes.
All right.
Please participate.
I didn't know that was your back.